When people ask you to lower your price, they're probably good for someone else. It's about being deliberate and intentional about understanding your value, the product or the service you sell, and not comparing yourself with someone else. But you don't even have to convince the client that this is the value. I always say, don't retire to start the business, retire to run your business. So you need to start it while you're somewhere else. Who are you as a human being? What defines you as a human being when I take your job out of you or from you? And a lot of people will not tell you who they are because they are defined by what they do and what they do in the professional sense.
Welcome to another edition of Mindset Profits. I don't know about you, but I am ready to have the biggest year of my life. And I'm going to be quite intentional about bringing the people I believe can help me get there, because this is about me as much as it is about you. I am growing with you. So thank you for all the support, the comments. I respond to all of them. We make it a point that we respond to all of them. And what we want to do today is introduce you to another man who stretches me, Mr. Phakathi, Mr. Sthembiso Phakathi.
Thanks,
Welcome.
Thank you. Thanks. It's good to be here, my brother.
I want to throw a confession as we're starting. We're talking about being the leader you need to be next year. Being the leader you need to be in future so that you remain future relevant today. And he is one of the sought out speakers, I think, in corporate events. So if you've never come across him, it's because you attend cheap seminars. I had to throw that in.
I didn't know about that one.
But there's something that you once said. We were chatting. And actually, sure. I thought when I bring you on, that's what we're going to talk about, okay. Pricing.
Oh, pricing.
Yeah, because you were talking about someone who went and charged like 20,000, and you were saying there's no way I would go into a room and charge for that amount.
Yeah.
And what you didn't know was like a month before that, I had gone to a workshop and I had charged 20,000 for the one day. And it was making sense until I spoke to you, and the way you spoke so down. Welcome.
Yeah, thanks, my brother. Yeah, no, value. I think as a business advisor, you need to know your value, and you shouldn't compare yourself with anybody else. So your value is what you charge, and you need to understand that the clients that recognize your value will be okay with your price.
With the price.
So our parts as speakers, as advisors, as consultants are different. So you need to know, this is my part, this is my value, this is the exchange I expect from my clients, and this is the equitable value that I need to trade with my clients. And once you look at another speaker or someone else, that's gonna confuse you.
You don't worry about losing the job.
No.
Because
I never look for work. Because my clients, I've got few clients, but I've got deep relationships with them, and they value my services, and I don't have to convince them to buy my services. So those that invite me for the first time will just ask my price. I just give them my price, and if they walk away or they ask me to reduce it, and then I just tell them, you're probably not my client. And that's okay.
There's something that I always say, just in passing and joking sometimes,
Sure.
that there's someone in the marketplace doing what you're doing, charging 10 times more.
Yeah, absolutely.
You are that to me.
Oh, is it? I didn't know that. Everything
You're
is got
charging
stage.
10 times.
Is it? Yeah.
So this is good. This is going to be a masterclass for everyone watching on how to build yourself to be that guy.
Yeah, it's a process. And I think you and I have discussed this casually and informally, that once you begin to build your personal brand, you become unstoppable. But it's a continuous work. So I spoke at another conference last week in Durban. I spoke about digital savviness for leaders, and I spoke about continuous learning or lifelong learning. Most leaders believe that I'm at a pinnacle of my career, and learning is for someone else, and I'm a leader now. I'm commanding the business. But if you think that learning is a destination, you're probably going to be in the back foot all the time, because someone is learning when you're sleeping or when you're reading a newspaper or on social media. Someone is learning a skill, and that someone is probably going to overtake you, and you become obsolete. I always say, if you're not developing and growing, you are eroding. You are not stagnating, you are eroding. So it means you're going backwards, because these days the world below our feet is moving fast. So how I built my brand is, I built my brand when no one was watching. So when I was still employed in my previous employment. So I built it slowly, but I was intentional about it, because I knew at the right time. I always say, don't retire to start the business, retire to run your business. So you need to start it while you're somewhere else. And if you retire to start the business, you're going to slow down. So you must leave when you know that the runway has already been built.
The numbers make sense.
It's just for you to launch it, but you can't be thinking about paperwork, registration, all of those things. You must know that I have a market, I have people that trust me as a brand, and it's just plowing and building those relationships so that you're not in the back foot. So I did that. So I did what other leaders would not do, because they were comfortable in what they were doing in corporate.
Yeah.
But in my extended hours or after hours, I would do a lot of working on me and working on my development.
How do you introduce yourself? Your bio.
Oh, I'm a business leader that's excited about leadership and culture. So if you look at my website, it's all about org transformation, building leaders. I'm so passionate about developing leaders. And culture is part of that, and business transformation is part of it. So you can't develop leaders without looking at the business. So there's a lot of things I don't know about business, and I don't walk in that space because it's not my space. So I wake up and think about which leader can I help develop, and that, to me, business coaching, leadership coaching, is what I do, and I think it's providing me so much opportunity to learn about individuals and to learn about their businesses.
Wonderful. Okay, I'm curious though. You said you were developing yourself while you were working. What did that look like? What did that process look like to build this kind of brand? Because that's the process I want to get into.
Yeah, it has to be intentional. So find opportunities to network.
Yeah.
Find opportunities to speak at events, attend conferences. Even if you're not speaking, attend and network and build relationships there. But also, I think working at Vets, I've been working at Vets for the past 12 years, and now I've moved to the business school. So that also, it just gives you an opportunity to maintain your brain, to be sharp all the time. Read more, read books, attend conferences, build networks, understand that we all have got 24 hours in a day, but if you work 8 or 10, what are you doing with the rest? If you're not shaping your brand or building and growing, you probably, someone behind you or next to you is just going to overtake you. So what I did is, when I left formal employment, and I knew that I wasn't going to look for work, and I've got zero budget for marketing. If you look at my business model,
For real?
Yeah, for real. I got zero business
Budget.
and I'm the only one on my payroll. So the people that I work with, they augment my business, but I'm the only one in my business. And I work with people that can identify with my brand. If I feel that this person doesn't represent my values as a person, as a brand, I just leave them on the side. So a lot of people ask to work with me or collaborate, and that's fine. We can collaborate, but they need to understand, if I put my brand in front of the client, they need to listen to what I say, because my brand is unique and it's very specific. So they need to understand what I'm putting out there. It's not just the name, but it's also how I work.
Okay.
So if they don't fit in that kind of style, that kind of model of working, and very soon we don't have a relationship.
I want you to try. Maybe this is the coaching part of this conversation.
Sure.
There is a part of me, a big part of me, that enjoys what I do going out, not to corporate, because I do work with corporate
Yes.
sometimes, but going out to rural communities sometimes and developing people there, and the impact that I see there, it really touches my soul. I feel a good man when I come back home.
That's good.
Especially when I see what those kids get to do out there.
Yes.
But then there's the other side that comes and talks to Mr. Phakathi, and he has an invoice 10 times what I made there,
Yeah.
and tries to think, how do I balance this, the impact side that I want to make and the money side.
Versus
where
the value,
if you ignore that market and focus on the high paying market, you will make more faster. I guess that will make you feel good in a way, but
Sure.
trying to balance those two.
It's difficult because I also do a lot of community development work, and I don't like the word pro bono. And when the client says to me, "Can I do this pro bono?" I say, "No, I'll pay for it. Nothing is free." so if you want me to come and talk at a conference for free, and we don't have a conversation, and rather say to me, "Can you sponsor your talk at my because nothing is for free." So I would say it's not pro bono. I'm paying for it. So I'm investing in that because hopefully in the future we can have we can build a relationship. So community development work is not free, but it's my passion. So as you know, through the Single Dads Network, it's my community development project, and it's not paid for. It's an NPO or it's an NPC, and I don't have sponsors. I don't have funders. I fund it from my pocket. But because I'm passionate about the work that the SDN is doing, I'm willing to fund it. But at corporate, I don't do any work for free. And like I told you that if you understand your market, even if you've got 3 or 4 clients and they believe in the work that you do, the work that you're passionate about, they'll pay for it. And when I was working at Deloitte, I remember giving a talk in Cape Town at one of my clients. I was still at Deloitte, and I think I delivered a talk on a Thursday. And they phoned me on Monday and asked for my invoice. And I couldn't invoice them at that time because, of course, I was working for a big brand and we were not allowed to invoice. And they insisted that, no, the speaker that spoke before you actually charged us so much. We haven't seen your invoice.
And we want to pay.
And we want to pay. And I couldn't invoice. And again, it's ethics. And it's not that they... And I could see they valued the work, but they're basically saying, but you haven't charged us. So it goes to show, and that is feedback to you as a speaker, as a professional, that your work is valued. Your work is valued, and they can attach money to it or a price to it. And that is feedback to inform you that if you had to work on your own, that's your value. And like I said to you, when you work on yourself on a daily basis, your value increases. And you should not be apologetic or shy to say, this year, like I was saying, someone that asked me, "Oh, your price is lower than so and so," and I said, in 3 years, my price is going to be the same as so and so, because I know in 3 years where I'm going to be in terms of the skill.
You know people charging more than you.
Yeah, many.
Okay.
There's plenty in the market. And they charge in dollars, US dollars. I do charge in US dollars. Yeah, of course. I charge in US dollars, but I charge in ZAR for my SA clients. So, and again, it's about being deliberate and intentional about understanding your value, the product or the service you sell, and not comparing yourself with someone else. But you don't even have to convince the client that this is the value. If they ask you, most of my clients just say, send a quotation for a 40-minute talk. I'll just tell them over the phone. I don't email it to you. Unless you want it to get it approved somewhere. But I just tell you the price over the phone. And then you just have to commit, is it done or not? If it's not, and then life moves on. I don't have to write a long story about justifying what I charge. Because those that believe in my value will get it. And it's not compare. It's not benchmark. It's not compared with someone else. Like you say, you see me charging much compared to you, and there's a lot of people that charge way above me. And that's okay, because our parts, our experiences, the things that we do in the marketplace are different.
And we're growing.
And we're growing. As long as you set yourself a benchmark, or set yourself a target or a goal that once I've accumulated these skills, I was saying to someone else yesterday, I was talking at my client workshop yesterday. She said to me, "Hey, you're asking me to speak. I'm not a public speaker."
Yeah.
But her boss had asked her to present. I said, "What do you mean you're not a public speaker? You are in public all the time. Whether you're talking socially or you're talking with the family, you are a public speaker because you do have conversations
In public.
The thing is, you are not confident to speak to 50, 20 people. But that comes with doing it again, practicing." And I went further. I said to her, I record myself in my house speaking or rehearsing for an event. And I find a lot of mistakes. But when I get off stage, people say, "Oh, wow, that was awesome." Because they don't know
Your process.
They don't know the demand of myself and the level, the standard that I've set for myself. They think, "Wow, this was good." Even after watching myself after an event, I still find mistakes. But my clients don't find mistakes because they don't know the benchmark and the standard I've set for myself. But when you set those standards, beat them, meet them, and exceed them, and you set the next one, that's where your value increases. And now, next year you can charge 30% more what you charged this year. And the following year you charge 50% more. But as long as you can prove to the clients that the value of the service and the skill set that I've learned and I've invested in justifies the price. But again, you don't have to justify it. When people ask you to lower your price, they're probably good for someone else. And they're not your client.
So you're saying a lot of people are struggling because they're just going for the wrong customer and playing in the wrong market.
To everyone. Playing in the market, you don't understand your marketplace and your clientele. And you can't be everything to everyone. There are clients that come to me, the topic is the right topic, but the audience is not right for me. And I decline it. Last week I was asked to give a talk because it was a men's month, a men's health month at a client. And the first thing I asked, who's going to be in the audience? They just said, "Well, it's a bunch of men." I said, "What kind of men?" So what are they willing to consume? What are they excited about? Where are they in their careers? I want to have a very good idea so that I can customize my talk according to because there's just so many things I've accumulated and learned in my 30 years in business life.
Yeah.
I want to pour that out in my marketplace, but I can't just pour it out at the wrong place with the wrong audience.
Yeah.
So the first thing I ask when I'm asked to talk is who's in the room. Just give me a very good. And by the way, what are the expectations from a talk like this? The topic may make sense, but have you socialized the topic with them? How did you introduce the topic to them? Have you asked them questions what they want the speaker to touch on? And most of the people that hire us haven't done their homework. They're just hoping you're going to touch a nerve. They're hoping you're going to say something that one person or two people are going to like. And
I've found that a lot.
Yeah, it's not right. So I force them to prepare. So even if they are not prepared at the time of briefing, I say, well, go and find out. Send them an email and say, well, Stay is going to come and talk about fatherhood or leadership and culture. What about leadership and culture would you like him to touch on? Send an email or just ask them, especially if it's not a big team. Then when I'm there, I know what they're looking for. Instead of saying, oh, well, this is what I like talking about. It's not about the speaker. So understanding your client. But those that hire me often understand the process. Before they approach me, they'll say, we've figured out the talk, we've built it like this. This is the audience. It's a group of 50 men. They are in these leadership roles. In their personal lives, this is what they are going through, according to what they've told us. Would you build something that's going to talk to those 3 or 4 things? I always say, as a speaker, as a professional, you've got a toolbox. In that toolbox, you can just imagine there's so many tools and instruments. But if you don't know what problem you're solving, you're going to use the wrong tool for the wrong problem.
All right. If I'm looking at something that you say, that in your organization you are alone, but you still build it to what it is now,
Sure.
there will be many that say, I'm alone in my company, but you teach leaders. I don't feel like a leader because I'm not leading anyone.
Yeah, a leader is not a leader is not a leader because they lead other people. A leader is a leader because they build brands, but they also interact with their clients. Even if you're not leading a team in your business, you are a leader because you're advising other people. And you're advising other people about leadership, about different things. So I was deliberate by creating a portfolio in my business that's going to require most of my skill alone. Of course, that's why I always say being self-employed, you're still employed.
Yeah.
You need to understand if you're not out there and you're not healthy, and there's no business.
Yeah.
So most of my work can't happen when I'm asleep. Yes, I'm investing in different things, but
Yeah.
the work that I do as a person, I need to be present and I need to be there. There's a lot of work that I do in the background. I don't have to be the client, but when I'm at the client, they see the value. So, but I was intentional because I left corporate because I felt that I've done my part in building businesses or building teams and hiring people,
Yeah.
interviewing people, motivating and inspiring teams.
Yeah.
This requires me. And by the way, it gives me so much flexibility that I work on average 2 to 3 days a week.
Okay.
So it gives me too much
It's a
flexibility
nice schedule.
to read other things, to learn, to watch other speakers speak, and to learn about my clients. It's so much time on my plate now.
I thought you'd say to take the boat to the
Oh
van.
yes, yeah. I can go take my motorbike on the road. When you feel the wind in the air in your face, that's how I relax. When I take my boat to the water, that's how I relax. People relax differently. I couldn't do that when I was employed. I was employed for 32 years of my life. For the first time, March last year, 2024, March 1st, was the first time I had to decide what I want to do with my life. All the time in 32 years, somebody else had to decide my fate. And I didn't like it all the time. Yes, I made a lot of money in the process, but I didn't have fulfillment. I think wealth, time is the biggest wealth in the world. When you've got time and you don't compromise on the lifestyle, and you've got a lot of time to make decisions about what's important for you, that's greatest wealth. I know a lot of my clients who are CEOs and MDs of big companies, but they don't have time. Time for family, time for themselves, time to rejuvenate their souls, time to recharge, time to relax, but they make a lot of money. And most, especially men, most men, their ego and pride comes from their corporate jobs. You take that away, he's no one.
Yeah, I get you. What mistakes do you see leaders make in general? You've coached many leaders.
Many, yeah.
And if I'm looking at the kind of leaders that tomorrow needs, what are the gaps that you're seeing in the market?
Yeah, I think it's stopping to learn. I think we've spoken about the mistake of most leaders that I coach is stopping to learn and also refusing to understand that they cannot know everything about the business. So ability to delegate, to share the workload, to share the work with colleagues is wisdom in leadership. So most leaders that I coach are almost just working their life into the ground because they're absorbing so much. They think I own the answers. I have the answers. I've been here 15 years, 20 years, 30 years. I should know every answer. They refuse to empower those next to them and below them. I posted something on LinkedIn 2 weeks ago that said most leaders actually become loyal to their superiors, but they punish the ones below them because they refuse to empower them and they refuse to delegate. So most leaders like to basically take instructions or satisfy those above them, or loyalty is there, but the ones below them, they don't empower. And they punish, they frustrate them, and they don't really give them space to grow and develop. So
What do
leadership,
you put that down to? Is it insecurity? What is the key driver?
it's a combination of things. Yes, insecurity perhaps, because if I develop these guys, they might take my job. Or if I empower them, they might find blind spots in me, or they might find cracks in my leadership. So I must keep them there. I must keep them low. I must keep them far away from me. They must just do what they need to do. So that's one thing. The other thing is just knowledge. It's lack of knowledge about leadership. That your job is to build these teams in such a way that 2 or 3 of them are ready to take your job, so that you can move to something
Move to
else.
the next.
So I always say, when you're looking for promotion, you should know that you're ready. You should have been given feedback that you are ready already. So it shouldn't be a surprise when you promote someone from within that, oh, why did Ntando get that job? It should be common knowledge that Ntando is ready for that job. It's just that stay is still there. But people need to know that Ntando, Josh, someone else is already ready because he has been groomed, he has been trained, he has been empowered, he has been supported for that job. If he aspires to get there, he is ready now. But of course, then the leader must say to himself or herself, what's next for me? When I was at Deloitte, I used to ask the teams, what's next for me? Because I know you guys can do what I do. Push me to the point where I think I need to take up something else so that I can pass the baton to you. But it's your job. Succession planning, it's your job. It's not HR, it's not someone else. As a leader, as long as you have teams under you, your job is to groom, train, develop, empower, inspire those teams to do what you do so that you go to something else. But most leaders become very, very stagnant, and they become just say, well, I'm here now. Probably I'll wait for retirement until something else comes up, but I'm comfortable. And when you're too comfortable in a job, you stop growing.
What specific traits or skills can I be developing if I'm a young person and I want to be a great leader in future? What do I work on now?
Oh, work on yourself. Work on developing yourself, learning new skills all the time. It depends where you want to go. You see, I always talk my story that as a leadership advisor, I started as an engineer, and there are detours in life. Just because I didn't have a plan for myself.
Yeah.
So I was frustrated most part of my life because I wasn't doing what I was born to do. Because my teacher said, you're good with science and maths, go be an engineer or go study engineering. I believed them because they were teachers. They didn't ask me, what do you want to become or what are you excited to do? Only when I finished my MBA many years ago, and I realized working with machines was boring for me. So I like working with people. It was like a penny drop.
Yeah.
And my life changed. I was 36 years old then. And then I realized, hey, actually,
I don't like machines.
I don't like machines. I can fix them, but it doesn't fulfill me. But working with human beings is what excites me. And that's when my life changed.
Didn't you worry about how long it would take to learn to be a different person?
I wasn't worried. I was already learning. I just gave up the stuff that I'd done before. But again, it's not useless. It's not fruitless. There's a lot to learn from detours. You know, when you get lost, even when you walk, and you pick up things that say, I must come back here. So when you get lost, you learn the things. You also learn about what's not for you. Because life is not a straight line.
Yeah.
Sometimes we take detours because what we studied was making sense then, but you realize it pays the bills, but it doesn't fulfill my spirit, and it doesn't fulfill what I'm here to do. I always say when your passion collides with your skills, you never have to work again, because you're doing something that you're passionate about, and you're doing something that you can do for the rest of your life. Not all people will stand in front of us today and say, what I'm doing fulfills me and I can do it for the rest of my life.
Not many. And I know what someone will be thinking listening to you, and it would be something along the lines of, I want to make the shift. I know what's good for me. I'm just worried that I've got family responsibilities, I've got bills. If I make the shift, I don't know how long that will take to pay me.
Yeah, I've heard that many times.
Yeah.
I was scared about the same thing myself. As you know, I've got family, I got the responsibility, I got houses, I've got bonds, well, I had debt. I don't have debt now, but when I started, I had debt. So as long as there's that something that, if a mind can see it, that's why it's called vision. You haven't touched it yet,
Yeah.
but you can visualize it. If the mind can visualize it, it can work. You just have to put in your effort behind it. And again, it's only your vision. And then once you start sharing your vision with people, that's when you get distraction. So I didn't tell a lot of people what I was about to do, because they're going to say, oh no, what about this? What about that? What about this? You're still paying. What about your kids? What about this? Then they discourage you. So when you capture when you capture a vision and you've got a goal and you can see it vividly in your mind, you can almost touch and feel it. Own it, but don't tell a lot of people before you have jumped. So rather decide, because once you've decided, it's done. You can tell a lot of people, but if it's done. But as you are thinking about it and planning about it, don't tell a lot of people. They'll discourage you. Especially people that know your circumstances,
Yeah.
because they're going to remind you about debt and
Bills
expenses, school kids or school fees. And then you're going to think, what if it doesn't work? Then you're going to have a lot of noise coming at you and what if. But when you decide, it's done. Then you can tell people, I'm doing it already. And as Richard Branson would say, if somebody gives an idea, say yes, and figure out later how you're going to make it work.
True.
Because life is risky. And when you're comfortable, as you say, a lot of people I work with are comfortable in their jobs. And their prestige and their confidence and their social status comes from that thing, that job. Like I said to you earlier, when you strip them out of that title and out of that job, who are you as a human being? What defines you as a human being when I take your job out of you or from you? And a lot of people will not tell you who they are, because they are defined by what they do and what they do in the professional sense. So when I decided to do what I do now, I was nobody, but I knew that what I'm starting to do now, which was last year, if it's going to fulfill me, and I can do it for the rest of my life. And again, I determine the pace at which I do it, and I determine the level of growth that I need, year in, month in, year after year, as I do. And I don't have to, no one has to tell me, now you've got it now, stop. Because learning doesn't stop. But in corporate, unfortunately, you occupy a job where somebody will say, Intando, you've got the qualifications, you've got the experience, just do this job. They don't push you to do something else that's going to cause you to leave that job, because they want you in that job. So they will say, no, why must we send you on this training? You've got the experience, you've got the knowledge.
You're good for the job that you're in.
Exactly. And Tando say, no, but I'm hungry for more. And say, no, why must we pay you for another master's degree for this course, for this leadership course? You are already doing well. Because somebody is basically deciding on your behalf where you need to go. When you're on your own, when you are an entrepreneur, when you're on your own, you know what's best for you. You don't have to send an application to someone to say, can I go to this conference? Can I learn this YouTube thing? Or can I take this course? You invest in it yourself. So that's the beauty of being an entrepreneur and being a business owner, because then decisions are yours and yours only. And again, you do make bad decisions, you learn from them, and then you pick up the pieces and move on. So that's the beauty. But in corporate, unfortunately, someone is going to say, I'm not approving it.
I told people that you were coming actually for the podcast.
You did?
I gossiped in a coaching session.
Okay.
I know someone who will be very grateful for this question.
Yeah.
How do I fix a broken culture? Like, I've got employees. I wasn't intentional about building the right culture, but now it's bad and I feel powerless to change it.
Yeah.
Like, the employees just do what they want. They come at the time that they want to come. Some steal, some. It's now broken.
Yeah.
And this is someone who's got 12 employees.
Yeah.
And they were asking me. So I said, no, don't worry about me answering. I've got the person.
Thank you for that. I do a lot of work in culture. Everything about shaping culture starts with leaders. So to change the behaviors of leaders or change them, then you
Yeah.
change the culture. I always say that the culture is shaped by the behaviors you tolerate and those that you celebrate. So if you celebrate behaviors that are toxic, you're shaping a toxic culture. But if you do not tolerate those behaviors, especially by leaders, you're shaping a different culture that says, this is not who we are. We don't behave like this. We don't stand for this. This is not what we stand for. And therefore, we're not going to tolerate these behaviors. Everything, so I always say culture, toxic culture flows from the top. It doesn't bubble from under. So when you set the tone at the right level, at the leadership level, and that determines how the rhythm, the fabric of the organization is going to become. So if you find a company with toxic culture, look at their leaders. It all comes down to that. Because the behaviors, if leaders behave in a certain way that says this is who we are or this is not who we are, employees will copy that. Vibration around culture starts at the leaders.
What if the leader says, I've grown, I've listened to Mr. Phakathi, I've grown, I'm working on myself, but still these human beings are hard to change.
Yeah, then
They're now used to the bad stuff that they're doing.
there's no such thing. People can be used to the bad stuff, but they can change.
Yeah.
Especially if the leaders actually start a different rhythm, a different behavior, and people learn. And by the way, we can also unlearn bad behaviors, just like in a family.
Yeah.
If you have got a child that is always out of line, and when they see your leadership change, perhaps they can unlearn those behaviors. Just like I find a lot of organizations will say, the employees have gotten used to this kind of rhythm, and now I've got a new leader. That's why when sometimes you change the CEO of a company, you change the culture of the company. Because people learn that this guy or this woman or this lady doesn't accept this, doesn't tolerate this, they change. Because if they don't, they are out. And if the rules are clear about what's acceptable and what's not, either you figure out, if I don't change, I'm not going to be acceptable here. Sometimes they jump before they are let go. So in smaller companies, it's easy. If you're talking about 12 employees,
That's
it's easy. I'm coaching a leader with 26 employees. That's also easy. But to change a culture for one of my clients, 6,000 employees, it's hard. But once I always say, to change behavior, start in your immediate sphere of influence. If Ntando has got 3 or 4 people reporting to him, start there. Show these people that this is who we are, this is what we stand for, this is what we won't tolerate. Because the vibration will expand. And suddenly, most people have got 7 or 8 people reporting to them on average. Don't boil the ocean. Don't stand in a podium and say, I'm here to change the culture. It doesn't work. You can say that, but they're going to watch you. What are you doing and how you're behaving and how you're leading? To do the things you said we're going to do.
Yeah.
Because trustworthiness erodes when you promise things that you're never going to follow up on. So most leaders will stand in a podium and say, this is where we're going, this is our vision, this is how we're going to do it. But their behavior is different. And people lose trust. And then they lose trust in that leader. Say, it's just talk. So I coach leaders to say, watch yourself. Understand you've got blind spots. Use a 360 feedback mechanism to say, give me feedback about the things that are my blind spots as a leader so that I can learn. But if you think as a leader, you don't have blind spots and you're always right and you have all the answers, people stop giving you ideas. If I report to you and every time I come to you with an idea or an opinion, you brush it aside, do you think I'm going to come again?
I get you.
Yeah.
It makes so much sense. I want to give you an example, actually. There's a team building that I was doing with an organization, with just the management team.
Yeah.
There's like 6 in a boardroom. I thought it was going well. I thought we were brainstorming great ideas until around about 2-3 p.m.
Yeah.
The head, the big boss.
Oh, the boss.
He says to me, so, Ntando, I just have one question.
Yeah.
why are we doing all this the whole day when what I say is what goes anyway?
Anyway, oh yeah, I want to meet someone like that.
I had no comeback.
Yeah, now he's lost. Obviously, he's very authoritative in his approach to leadership, and what he says goes. He doesn't think that team cohesion and team effectiveness is going to help. So it was just ticking the box, perhaps, but it doesn't. He doesn't care what he says goes. But he doesn't realize that ultimately, when you lead like that, when you turn away and face the other way, and people don't do anything, they just do and behave a certain way because you're there. But when you're not there, the culture, I always say culture is what people do when the leader is not there. Can those 12, 15 people in that team building session do what they need to do if the leader is not? So I always say to my clients, I watch what people do when bosses aren't there. That's the culture. What they do when the bosses are there is just is just satisfying the boss, or it's just they are doing what the boss likes to see. But once you remove the boss from the equation, watch what happens. So that's the culture of the organization, and it's created by what they believe is right for them, not necessarily what the boss wants. So take the boss from the equation, watch how people behave when he or she is not there. That determines what's important to them, and that determines the culture of that company. And yes, it can change with the behavior of the team through team building, team effectiveness training, resilience training, but ultimately the bosses need to take charge of that business through the way they show up and through the way they behave.
Do you ever meet leaders who feel like they've outgrown their expectation of how far they would have gone? You can call it imposter syndrome or a lack of confidence, but I find myself in this leadership position that even I feel like I don't qualify for.
Yeah, I meet a lot of them. So they're stagnating and they are bored themselves. So they're not doing fulfilling work, and they're not doing work that inspires them, that motivates them, that really challenges them. So when as a leader, you feel like, there's nothing pushing me to do more. You don't have energy to really inspire teams that work for you. So if you as a leader are also not motivated. And people are motivated by different things. Some are motivated by perks, by salaries, by benefits, by a big office, by a big car, by whatever. But I meet a lot of people that are just mediocre, that are just doing what they've always done. They're ticking the boxes. They're not pushing their teams to the edge. They're not challenging their teams. They're not challenging themselves. And they need coaching. And everybody needs coaching. I have coaches. I coach other people, but I have coaches. So because we've got blind spots as human beings. And as we learn and we think that other things are unimportant, yet they are, especially in situational leadership, whereas you work with different people. So leaders like that don't need training. They need coaching. And coaching is not mentoring. It's not mentorship. So you need someone to challenge you to have balls enough to say, Ntando, this is not the way you lead, and you need these skills, and let's figure out how we're gonna help you get them. That's the coach, and then develop you to a place where you feel like, I've done this now. What's next for me? So the leaders like that are not. They're just gonna wait for time for another opportunity to become available. I always ask, as you shift from one position to the next, what legacy are you leaving behind? What do people say about you as you move on, as you pass the baton to the next person?
Yeah.
So what have you created? How many leaders have you created were in your space? It doesn't have to be in your employment, but in the industry, in the sector that you work in. How many leaders have you developed that they can say, I'm here now because of Ntando or because of Sthembiso? If you're not confident that you can count a few people to say that, you haven't led. You just occupied a position. You haven't built teams. You haven't built legacy. You haven't developed anyone. You should be able to say, I'm moving on now you are ready to fill my shoes. I'm confident I'll bet my last dollar on you because I've seen you, I've developed you, I've empowered you, I've seen you showcase a skill that's ready for these shoes. I can vouch on you.
Mm.
Whether Ntando wants to do it or not is different, but I can say it, I've developed you over the past couple of years. I think you're ready for something like this. It's my time now to move on to something else. For me, that's leadership. If you can't be confident about that, you probably just stayed in that position and never developed it. And it was all about you.
That's beautiful. Last question from my
Sure.
side. I want to ask about adaptability,
Yes.
because if we're talking about becoming a future relevant leader, I guess that should be one on that list.
Yes.
Your ability to adapt. Do you see leaders holding on to old ways of leading? Is there?
Yeah, some are very agile. So I talk about agility or agile leadership because that talks about speed and adaptability. Because the winds are going to blow, storms are going to come as a leader,
Yeah.
and that's a way of life. So as a leader, the question is, if suddenly you lose 20% of your clients now, or you lose 50% of your market, and you don't find opportunities to replace that loss, what do you do? And a lot of my clients come to me and say, help us restructure. We need to cut 25% of the workforce because now we have to cut somewhere. And a large cost item in any business is people.
Yeah.
That's why I employ only myself because I'm not going to employ anyone else. I bring people as and when
Yeah.
I need them. They do the work. They disappear and do other things. And that's my model.
Yeah.
But in business, big businesses, you hire. Most organizations hire during good times and then they have to squeeze during bad times. And they don't squeeze in benefits, they squeeze in people because most create unnecessary roles during good times when they're making good money. And when the storms come, when the winds blow, I have to tell you now, your job is actually not needed. I knew it was not needed at the beginning, but I created it because I wanted my friend to occupy it. But bad times are going to come. So agility means that can you manage that process with fairness, with brutal honesty, and with openness and transparency when and if it does happen? Or you're going to go into a dark corner and say, HR, do something. hire someone to manage this Section 189. We have to retrench at least 20% of the workforce. Own it as a boss. Own it because you're the one probably that we're hiring during the good times and even creating unnecessary useless jobs or roles. Own it and face those people and say, actually, we are going through a rocky surface. We've looked at this organization. These jobs are actually not needed. And legislation allows for that. If there's a business rescue or a business transformation or a strategy or a reason for a business to retrench, it's allowed in the legislation. But the way you do it, it's going to determine what kind of a leader you are. Don't relegate it to HR or unions or union representatives to manage it or consultants to manage it. Own it as a leader and say, we've made some mistakes or we made good calls, but the economy is not on our side or the industry or the space we play in has changed. We have to squeeze as much as we can now and manage it with transparency, openness, diligence, and making sure that you communicate openly about all the steps you have to take. But it's human nature to hire when you're making money.
Yeah, I see that picture clearly. I think it's something that I've seen so many times. Where do people find you? What should they look forward to?
Oh, easy. Type Sthembiso Phakathi .co.za. You'll find my website. Or if you just type my name, my website comes up. And that's where you find. But on the social media and also on my YouTube channel, Sthembiso Phakathi, you find it there. But my company is called SP Enterprises, Sthembiso Phakathi Enterprises.
Okay.
But if you type my name, it lands on my website. And then there's an email address there. You can join my mailing list. I can share articles. I can share the work that I do, or you can send us email address there as well. It's easy to find me.
What are you looking forward to next year?
Oh yeah, continue to do what I'm doing, but also mainly to develop myself, because I'm gonna be in a different place this year. This time, if you speak to me next year,
Same
around
time.
this time, we're gonna be talking different things. I'm reducing the people I'm working with, but building deeper relationships with them and doing exciting things. I'm excited about the work that we are doing now on culture, as well as business coaching, because I'm learning a lot, but also I'm thinking that the work that I'm doing in the background, behind the scenes, is going to help a lot of my clients in the next year. I look forward to that.
Looking forward to it too. You said same time next year, so I'll remember.
Let's do that.
I'll
Of course,
remember.
we'll speak in between, but I tell you, I got big goals for me, for my family, and for my clients in the coming years. So I'm not going to reveal it now, but yes, something big is coming.
I know, we're here.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you
Thanks,
for
my
this
brother.
time. Eh?
I like this. Thank you.
I enjoyed the masterclass. I know it was a masterclass for someone out there as much as it was for me. So see you in the next episode. You can follow him. We'll put links to his website in the description of this video. Thank you.